I was half drunk when it hit me. The smell of fire, not the kind from a campfire or a cigarette. It was thick, choking, and foreign. I was not asleep. I was dying. My chest collapsed like a crumpled soda can. My eyes rolled back, and I felt something cold grip my ankles like chains. Then came the screams. Loud. Terrifying. Human, but not. I could not move. I could not speak. And suddenly, all the jokes I made about hell stopped being funny. I had spent my entire life laughing at Christians, rolling my eyes at prayer, mocking my mother's Bible verses like fairy tales. I told myself there was no God, no sin, no judgment. But in that moment, I was wrong. Horribly wrong. I thought death was sleep, peace, darkness. But what I saw next made me beg for a second chance. And what I heard, it shattered everything I thought I knew. Before I continue, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you are already subscribed to this channel, I truly appreciate you. It means the world to me. And to those of you who are new here or have not subscribed yet, I want you to know that every single click on that subscribe button is like fuel to keep this message alive. It keeps this channel moving and reaching those who desperately need to hear stories like this. So please, like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to share it. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Sydney, and I was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama. My mother was the praying type, the kind who whispered scriptures over your sleeping body and played gospel music during Saturday cleaning. But me? I grew up bitter, cold, skeptical. By 2011, I was 24, neck deep in the party scene, and proud to say I was an atheist. Not the quiet kind either. The loud, arrogant, I know better than you kind. I read books by Richard Dawkins, followed forums at Mock Religion, and wore my unbelief like a badge of honor. To me, Christians were delusional, weak, using faith as a crutch because they could not handle the truth. I laughed at their testimonies, rolled my eyes at their tears, even told a coworker once, hell is just a bedtime story for grown-ups who never learned how to think. Behind the sarcasm, though I was hollow, I was battling depression in secret. My father had left when I was 9. I watched my older brother overdose at 16. I never admitted it, but I blamed God, or the idea of him, for all of it. Why would a loving God allow my family to be ripped apart? So I built walls. I numbed my emotions with alcohol, women, and noise. I hated silence, because when it got too quiet, I would feel something I could not explain, a pull, a whisper, like someone knocking on the inside of my soul. And it terrified me. I remember one night in 2012, sitting on the hood of my car under the stars with a friend, Jorge. He pointed at the sky and said, "How can you look at all that and say there is no God?" I laughed and said, "Because I use logic, not superstition." But inside, I felt the lie. The truth is, I was running. Running from questions I did not want to ask. Running from pain I buried years ago. Running from a God I claimed did not exist, but secretly feared might be real. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a humid Thursday night in August of 2012. I had just finished drinking at a dive bar on the west side of Mobile. Jorge had offered to drive me home, but I insisted I was fine. I was not. My thoughts were buzzing, not from alcohol, but from the emptiness that had been gnawing at me for months. That night, something inside me felt darker than usual. I had laughed too hard, cursed too loud, and pushed away too many thoughts I should have faced. I was speeding down Highway 90 when I lost control. I do not remember the crash itself, only the split second before it. A blinding flash, a jolt through my chest, then silence, heavy, suffocating silence. But I did not wake up in a hospital. I was standing, but I was not in my car. I was not even on a road. The air around me was thick and dead. There was no breeze, no moonlight, just this dull, reddish glow like embers under ash. The ground cracked beneath my feet. It looked like scorched earth, blackened, sharp, and dry. I heard something faint in the distance. Screams. Thousands of them. Some were weeping. Others were cursing. And then came the smell, sulfur, burning hair, rotting flesh. It made me gag. Then I saw them. Figures, twisted, tormented souls. Some clawed at their faces. Others stared blankly into nothing. A woman to my left was muttering a prayer on repeat, but it sounded like it brought her no comfort. Another man was screaming, "I did not know! I did not know!" over and over. I tried to move, but my feet would not budge. That is when I saw them, shadows, creatures tall and grotesque, with eyes like burning coal and mouths that dripped with hatred. They did not walk. They slithered. They glided. And they moved toward me. One reached for my chest, and when it touched me, pain shot through my whole body like lightning through bone. I screamed, but there was no echo. My voice sounded small, like it did not matter. And deep in my gut, I realized this was not a dream. I had died, and I was in hell. I cried out, not for help, for mercy. For the first time in my life, I shouted into the dark, "God, if you are real, please, I am sorry. Please." Then everything stopped. It was like time froze. The demons backed away. The air shifted. And from above, far, far above, I heard a voice. Not loud, not thunderous, but clear and weighty. It said, "Your time has not yet come." And then another whisper followed. "Go back and tell them. Hell is real." I could not see anyone. No light. No angel. But I felt it. Power. Purity. I fell to my knees and sobbed like a child. All the pride, all the intellect, all the atheism evaporated in a second. I was nothing. Naked. Exposed. Terrified. But in that moment, I also felt something else. Mercy. Pure, undeserved mercy. Just as quickly as I had been pulled into that place, I felt myself being yanked backward, like my soul was snapped out of a pit. I gasped, coughed, and opened my eyes. I was lying in an ambulance. A paramedic hovered over me, shocked. "He is back!" he shouted. We lost him for 3 minutes. But I was not the same Sydney anymore. Something inside me had shattered, and something holy had entered in its place. The next morning, I woke up in a hospital bed with tubes in my arm and a pounding in my chest that reminded me I should not have been alive. The doctor said I had flatlined for nearly 3 minutes. Jorge was sitting in the corner of the room, pale and shaken. He said when he got the call about the crash, he thought I was gone for good, but I knew better. Something had changed. My body was weak, but my spirit was wide awake. Everything felt sharper, brighter, heavier. I could still smell the sulfur. I could still hear the screams. I could still hear his voice. For days I barely spoke. I did not touch my phone. I ignored the nurse's small talk. All I did was stare at the ceiling, thinking, no, trembling about what I had seen. I kept asking myself, how many more people are walking around like I did, thinking hell is just a joke? When I was discharged, I went straight to my mother's house. She opened the door, and I collapsed in her arms. I wept like a baby. She just held me, whispered scriptures over me like she used to, and said, God spared you, Sydney. Now you know he is real. And I did. The old Sydney, the prideful, mocking, self-reliant man, died that night on Highway 90. What came back was a broken vessel, wide open for God to fill. I repented that same night. I threw away all the books and podcasts that had fueled my unbelief. I deleted the old music, canceled party plans, and blocked the people who pulled me back into darkness. I started reading the Bible, not as a religious chore, but as a desperate man searching for breath. I could not get enough. The words of Jesus pierced through me like light through a shattered window. I began to understand what grace truly meant. Not something earned, but something given to the undeserving. Someone like me, little by little, my life shifted. I stopped chasing money and started chasing meaning. I no longer found joy in sarcasm, in belittling faith, or proving people wrong. My heart burned for something bigger than myself. I began to share my story, first with my family, then my old friends, and now, with you. God gave me a second chance. But not just for me. He told me to go back and tell them. So here I am, telling you, as honestly and as raw as I can. Hell is not a metaphor. It is not a myth. It is real. And the worst part of hell is not the fire. It is knowing you could have escaped. If you are living like I did, mocking God, running from truth, numbing your soul with distractions, I beg you, stop. Ask yourself, what if I am wrong? You do not need a car crash to wake up. You can surrender now. God's mercy is real, but so is his judgment. Eternity is not a gamble you want to play with your pride. God does not send people to hell. People choose it by rejecting the only one who can save them. If you are breathing right now, you still have time. Before I close, I want to speak directly to you. If you are living in sin, come out of it. If you have grown cold in your walk with God, come back to him. If you think you have gone too far, let my story remind you that his arm is still reaching. Jesus is real. Heaven is real. And so is hell. Please, do not wait until it's too late. Let me ask you, have you ever had a moment in your life where you felt like your soul was being warned? What are you doing today to make sure you do not wake up in the wrong eternity? Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. I would love to read your story, your questions, your doubts, anything. Someone else might need to hear what you have to say too. And if this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It helps this message go further, reaching those who need it most, just like I did. God bless you, and thank you for watching. Stay ready, stay awake,